My girlfriend of 4 years had a one-night stand. We broke up, but I can't stop thinking about her. A little backstory on the two of us. We were great friends in high school and depended on each other to blow off steam and simply offload our troubles on each other during our senior year. We attended to different institutions, but I ended up transferring to hers, which is when we began dating. We've been living together for 3 years and get along beautifully. We go on dates on a regular basis, go on vacations together, and depend on each other for help with all of our difficulties. She's been wanting to marry for a year or two, but I've urged her to wait until she graduates from graduate school next year. I dropped out of college and now have a secure career that allows me to support both of us financially. She helps with meals and groceries on occasion, but she mostly works to save money in case we need it in an emergency. My work requires a lot of time. I work on call at various hours of the day, and I may be gone for a few days at a time, but we always text or contact each other when we're away. When I'm gone, she'll go out with her pals and have a few drinks. I don't mind since I entirely trusted her. She's never showed signals of infidelity and had a buddy who cheated on one of her previous girlfriends, so she avoided him. She despises cheaters in movies and on television. So I arrived at work at 11 p.m. on Friday, and she was just getting ready to go out with her buddies. We kissed each other, said our I love yous, and went about our business. I had a wobbly feeling the whole night, so about 3 a.m., I texted her saying I loved her and hoped she had a wonderful night. Obviously, there was no answer, but that is not unusual. When she wakes up in the morning, she generally texts. I left work at 11 a.m. and arrived home about 12 p.m. She drove up just behind me as I was coming in. When she came out, she was dressed in the same clothing she had worn the night before and looked a shambles. She timidly kissed me on the cheek as we headed inside. As soon as I shut the door, she burst into sobbing and clung to my legs for dear life. She said that her buddies met a man at the pub who began buying them shots. According to her, he was stroking her shoulders and paying close attention to her. He spotted her text and snatched her phone, asking her to ignore it and have fun. This irritated me to no extent, but I remained silent and let her recount her story. She said she had a sexual encounter with him and that he took her vehicle back to his house where they had a sexual encounter. After what felt like 10 minutes of silence, I began putting my work bags away and got ready for a shower. I was emotionally numb, and I had no feelings for her at the time. In my thoughts, I was terrified since my body went into autopilot mode and simply began conducting my typical daily routine. She followed me about like a puppy dog, wanting to know whether I was going to say something. When I asked her whether she loved it, she was stunned and wondered if I really cared about what had occurred. I informed her, "What difference does it make to me what you do? You're a single lady, so do anything you want." I was unfazed when she began weeping and crying uncontrollably. I was finished. I told her I was going to take a shower and that she needed to go when I finished. She attempted to stop me from going to the restroom and urged me to speak to her, but I refused. When I went out, she was gone. I didn't hear from her on Saturday, but I did hear from her mother, who apologized to me. She had told her mother everything that had occurred, and she had seemingly hung up on her own daughter. She tried phoning me over 20 times on Saturday, but I was still emotionally unavailable. I thought I'd finished this forcefully, utterly over her. Yet here I am now, thinking only of her, missing her and yearning for her. I needed to hear her voice, so I phoned her, and we both sobbed on the phone. I want to take her back while knowing I shouldn't. It's just now that it's beginning to chew me apart on the inside, and it stinks. I'm not sure what happened to the strong person I used to be, but I'm a mess now. What exactly am I expected to do here? Attempt to communicate with her? Can you try rekindling this thing? I've always stated I'd never forgive a cheater, and she's always despised cheaters. I loathe her every time I think about it, but then I start craving for her. I'm just perplexed right now. I also have 224 SMS to read. She, her friends, her mother, my brother, and one of my closest friends have been trying to call me all night, certain that I've done something terrible. They're all aware of my erratic work schedule, so I'm not sure what they were thinking, but I'll try to keep you all updated after I've straightened things out. Update. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for their thoughts and suggestions. To say the least, it was an eventful Tuesday. I hadn't gotten much sleep after getting home from work. So I chose to read your responses and think about what I wanted to do before starting on the text messages. Second, the messages did not come from my family. I received 5 messages from family members, and the rest were from my ex, whom we'll name J, her friends/sorority sisters, and her mother. My supervisor also texted me a few times to let me know that my family was asking whether I was at work, and AT&T texted me a few times to let me know that I had exceeded my data plan, but the most of the messages were from J. Now for the texts. H, J's closest buddy, was the primary one who texted me. She emailed me many photos from the night, including them all drinking, the guy with them, the guy with J, and the guy dancing, and them making out. According to H, she was the only one attempting to prevent J from going with this person and refused to take the shots and beverages he provided. She says she didn't intervene with J until they began dancing inappropriately with each other. She also states that J wasn't adamant about remaining around the guy, but every time she tried to intervene, the guy would merely grab J and pull her back by his side, telling H that she was fine in his company. All of this sounded familiar to me because of the photographs she originally gave me. H was just 5 feet away from them in the image of them making out outdoors. Why wouldn't she go get J and take her home instead of photographing their moment for posterity? All of this will be important in the near future. Her other companions, who were there, just apologized for not stopping her and allowing her to pass by their views. Most of them say they loathe her and will no longer hang out with or support her, and they believe I'm a wonderful person who doesn't deserve such treatment. Her mother was the same way. She apologized by text, and after not answering for a time, she inquired if I was having difficulty dealing. It meant a lot to me that her mother remarked, "I can't believe my own daughter would do something like this to a guy both of us, her parents, completely love." It made me feel like I deserved more than this person I thought I knew. Then she began questioning whether I was okay and if I was having dark thoughts about myself. I contacted her today, and she was delighted to hear from me, wished me well, and offered her and her husband's assistance in moving Jay's belongings out of there. This last section will most likely disappoint some of you, but I felt like I needed it to happen so that I could get some closure. Jay's text messages, voicemails, tweets, and snaps were all viewed by me. Every single one of them was remorseful and, in a sense, pitiful. I texted her saying I wanted to speak to her in person and that she should come to my place. I didn't receive an answer, but there was a tap on my door approximately 20 minutes later. It was H, and she wanted to tell me what had transpired. H was on the attack before I could even say anything. She began to doubt my devotion to J, saying things like, "If you loved her as much as you used to, this wouldn't have happened, and this is just a tough patch in a long relationship. Can't you get over it?" This girl, who was attempting to stop J from damaging our relationship through text, was now hounding me for not letting it go. I inquired as to where this was coming from. The night this all transpired, she appeared to be protecting me. All she said was that J had been living with her since I forced her out, and that J had informed H that she was missing something in her life, and that our relationship was preventing her from finding it. H said that she did not hate me, but she was curious as to what I had done to cause her buddy to be unfaithful. She expressed her displeasure with Jay's behavior. When I questioned her how she got a photo of them kissing but couldn't stop them, she stated she wanted me to have evidence, and that she attempted to stop them once she had that proof. This perplexed the hell out of me. I wasn't sure whether I could trust H, but I thanked her for coming to me and told her I'd get back to her. J finally texted back saying she was on the way over. This was around 6 tonight. When she got here, she came in, sat down, looked at me, and immediately started crying. I told her to stop, no more crying, J, I mean it. She finally settled down and I asked her to talk to me seriously, no crying, no apologizing, no worrying about my emotions, no worrying about our relationship. I asked her to just tell me what happened and why she let it happen. Don't tell me what she thinks I want to hear. Tell me what she was thinking throughout the night. She said she was too drunk to stop herself from her inner thoughts. She found the guy to be incredibly attractive and him paying her the most attention compared to all of her other friends made him that much more attractive. She said she wasn't planning on doing anything with him, but the more physical he got with her, the more she let herself go. She didn't think of our relationship, her friends, or anyone else in the bar. She said she was lost in this little drunken moment where she was in the spotlight. He asked her if she needed someone to drive her car, and she said yes. He asked her if she needed a place to stay, and she said yes. At this point, tears start flowing down her face again. She had with him and immediately left, drove around for hours, and finally came home. She said she contemplated not telling me, had ultimately decided not to tell me about it. She said it was going to be her last romantic dream away from reality, but when she pulled in the driveway and saw me getting out of the car, she couldn't hold it in anymore. I asked her what she hated about our relationship, and she claimed nothing. She loved everything about us and me. She never wanted to hurt me or lose me, but she had been wrapped up in this thought of college flings before finally settling down. We started dating a sophomore year and things just took off for us. She never got to have that sorority college girl experience where she makes mistakes and meets new people that make her their priority for the night. She said that she never acted on these thoughts before because she loved me, but there was something about this guy the other night, plus the drinks, that made her drift off into her dream world and let it all happen. She asked me if I had anything to say, and I told her no. She asked me if now that she got that all off her chest, did it make me feel any better, and I said no. She tried to hug me, but I pulled away. My emptiness was back again, but I stayed and listened to her. She asked if she could stay in my life if there was anything in the world that she could do to prove that she hates herself for what she did, and she wished she never did it, but I told her no. I told her that I wasn't angry. For the most part, I understood where she was coming from. We never had the college life of partying and sleeping around because we had each other. Sure, we went out and drank, but at the end of the night, we always came home to each other. She asked if she could ever earn my trust back, whereas we could start building towards a new us. This actually made me mad. Is a new us. She ruined any shred of the us that there was, but I told her that I couldn't come to a decision and that I wouldn't be in contact with her for a long time, if at all. She grabbed some more clothes and tried to kiss me as she left, but I turned away and walked to my room. I feel a whole lot better knowing that she told me what was going on with her mind that night. Knowing that it wasn't a relationship problem, so to speak, but a self-conflict with herself on what she wanted. I don't hate her. As a matter of fact, I still love her and the fact she was so honest about what happened. I just don't have a single piece of trust left for her and don't think I ever will. Only time will tell what happens, but for now, I think it's over, even though I told her I wasn't certain. I feel some sort of closure now and don't hurt quite as bad, but sad that the woman I knew would let all we had go for a quick fantasy night.